Hi, this is my kind of first draft at this idea of crosswalking between learning goals and an assessment activity. And what I'll do first is show you this idea with a brand new assessment activity. I actually pulled this one from The Wonder of Science. It's for for 1LS 1-2. And I haven't done any editing on this, so this is just a raw assessment activity, and I just want to see how well that works with the learning goals that I've identified from that performance expectation. So here I have a list on the right of the practical learning goals that I've identified from the performance expectation. And these aren't formalized at all yet. This is also very much a first draft. So I've identified 16 different learning goals from this second grade performance expectation. And so I'm just going to compare these learning goals to the assessment on the left. It looks to me like the assessment on the left has maybe some grade level appropriate reading about cardinals. There's a little video here that shows cardinals feeding. I'll show you that. So when I watch this, I just see a mother and father cardinals feeding their offspring. And then there's a graphic organizer here that says something about patterns in cardinal behavior. Says offspring signal, parent response, and then how do these patterns help the offspring survive? And then there's an assessment checklist. So there's not a lot here for students to record, so I'm not expecting that a lot of my learning goals will be covered. But by doing this crosswalk, I think I can find out the strengths and the opportunities here in this assessment activity. So the first learning goal says obtain scientific information from grade appropriate text. And I have the text here. And then obtain scientific information from grade appropriate media as my second learning goal. And I have media in this video, but I don't have any way for the students to obtain any information from it. So these learning goals are not covered at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add in here a prompt for students to record scientific information from the text. All right, and now here's where my crosswalking is going to be, I don't know, kind of make a record of what we've done. I'm going to do this in light blue because I have lots of shades of blue I can use. So I'm just going to use different shades for the different learning goals that are SEPs. So I'm going to use a light blue for this one over here. And then I'm going to highlight over here this whole thing in light blue so I know where I'm going to be looking. And then I'm just going to copy and paste this down here. And I'm going to change this to video. So I have a spot to ask the students for scientific information from the video. And since this is another learning goal, I'm going to highlight this in another color of blue. I'll go a couple shades darker so it's obvious to me. And then I'll highlight this over here in the other color of blue. My goal again is just to see where I'm getting my information from. So these now match. All right, and so what you see is I'm matching learning goals to parts of the assessment. When I get to my DCI, I'm going to be doing the same thing. Again, I don't see any place where the students are asked to show that they understand that adult animals can have young. So we'd have to add that to this. Adult plants can have young. We don't see any evidence of plants at all here. So we'd have to add that to this assessment activity or make another one. And as we add them, we can highlight them back and forth. And that way I'll make sure that I have everything covered. Another possible outcome is that when you get done highlighting, you may find things in your assessment activity that are not highlighted. And so if you found a place for all of your learning goals to be covered, then anything that's not highlighted could be removed from your assessment activity, which will make your assessment activity shorter, which will be nice for the students and also for anybody who's rating it. So down in the cross-cutting concept, again, there's just a whole bunch of stuff here that we definitely know is not covered in this assessment activity. So now let me show you the same idea in an assessment activity that's much further along in its development, and that is the DEAR assessment. This also is adapted from a SNAP assessment, and this is its fifth revision using practical educational science. And so I have two things here. I have my teacher guide where all of my learning goals are listed, and I have my rating guide. And I feel that for the purposes of this crosswalk, like highlighting on this rating guide might seem difficult because things are already highlighted, but on the teacher guide, I can just quickly highlight. So I would look through my assessment activity, and one thing I'm going to notice right away is that analyzing data is covered right here. So I'm going to come over here and highlight this whole thing because this is analyzing data, which is taking data and just raw data and organizing it in a meaningful way. So that takes care of that. Now this says, discuss 3 causes that could explain the observed change in the deer population shown in task 1. That's from the graph up here. Include living and non-living factors. Explain how each cause would result in the pattern shown in task 1. And support your answers by referencing information from figures 1 through 4 on the following pages. So I know that by asking students to do this, I'm giving them lots of opportunities to interpret graphs. So I'm just going to put this in a purple because after seeing what I did on the last one, I think that purple is going to be nicer to look at. So this will be interpreting graphs. And I also see here I have a learning goal called supporting claims with evidence. So I'm asking them to make a claim for cause 1, cause 2, and cause 3. And I'm specifically asking them to support that with evidence. So I'm going to highlight that again. I guess I'll use this color here. And I'll highlight this here. I feel like I went in a little bit dark there, but all right. And then here I see they have to show how living and non-living factors explain a change in the deer population. So that gives them an opportunity to cover both of these. I'm just going to highlight these together because I just see it quickly and easily. So we'll make these orange. And that's right here. Great. So now I'm looking for cause and effect to make a prediction. Competition and access to resources are the learning goals I want to see. This is highlighted, it's just a comment that is already highlighted for another reason. This says, examine the data provided and then complete the following 3 tasks. Make a prediction about what will happen to the deer population over the next 10 years. State a cause and effect relationship to explain your prediction. Support your prediction with evidence from the data provided below. So again, I have a chance to support my claim with evidence. So I'm going to highlight that blue color again. And here I have the cause and effect piece, using cause and effect to make a prediction. So I'm going to highlight that in green. So now I'm left with just finding where there's competition and access to resources. And I don't see that explicitly here. So I'm going to look down below. And here I see rainfall is some of the data that's available. Here I see 2 types of grasses that could potentially compete with each other. And here I see evidence of competition with deer and elk, causes of fawn deaths by lack of food. So I see evidence in these of 2 possibilities for competition and 2 possibilities for limited resources. One is availability of grass to eat, and the other is the availability of rainfall. So I think that these 2 are covered in this section above. So I'm just going to color them like reddish. So when I look at this, everything is kind of covered, and there's not a lot of extra, if at all. It seems like there's a little bit of redundancy for supporting claims with evidence. So this is what you'd find in a crosswalk of a more highly developed assessment kit, where each individual practical learning goal is identified. So I think that this process of just highlighting in different colors back and forth will help you to identify where in your assessment you're measuring each practical learning goal. It'll also help you to eliminate parts of your assessment that don't seem necessary, and it'll help you to carefully phrase and word your assessment prompts or questions to elicit the information that you're looking for. So again, this is just a first attempt at this. So if you're doing this and find ways to improve upon this process, I would love to hear about that either via email or in the comments in the video. Good luck.